remember one morning I woke up and my legs gave out. They didn't know if I had a stroke.
Oh, this is the first time in my life I've ever gone through something like that.
What's wrong with me? You aren't always judged on your talent. The way you look can also measure your success.
It's the Brazilian butt lift craze.
I compared myself to other artists.
I wanted to, be curvy.
People on social media.
And I thought I wanted to take it to the extreme.
So I chose to make some changes.
I got my boobs done, my butt, my stomach.
Nobody warned me about the dangers.
Local doctors tell us the deaths are just one part of a bigger epidemic, leaving women disfigured and disabled.
Headaches, rashes, even heart attacks. Girls going to the Dominican Republic and trying to get their bodies done. And these are young girls who end up losing their lives. It's just not worth it.
And I had no idea that the fight for my life was about to begin.
Living by Design with host Kathy Holloway Hill. Kathy is a strong, powerful voice. She entertains, informs, and inspires her audiences everywhere she goes.
Hi, good evening. I am Kathy Holloway Hill, and welcome to Living by Design. We have a very powerful show for you today, and it's going to get pretty emotional. So I want to make sure that everyone is ready for this powerful topic. Over the past many decades, plastic surgery has become a major phenomenon. Women and men, they want to look better and feel better and just have a better body, a better face. They just want to make sure that their self-esteem is healthy. And today, we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of plastic surgery. We have with us one of the most world-renowned plastic surgeons, Mr. Dr. Adam Rubenstein. He is out of Miami, Florida, and he's actually also appearing in K. Michelle's new series on Lifetime entitled My Killer Body. Dr. Adam Rubenstein, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
It's my pleasure also because this is a topic that after watching a few episodes of that show, it's a lot of people, if they have not seen it, I would highly recommend that you do, because I've seen some things on there that have really, really, really shocked me. And I've seen a lot in the many, many years I've been on this earth, and I didn't think I could be shocked, but I have been.
Yeah, it's shocking. I wish I weren't so used to it, and I wish it wasn't shocking to me. I wish it was shocking to me, but I see so much of it that it's the stories are just incredible. So definitely check out the show if you haven't seen it.
Yes, yes. So the first thing I want to get into with you is, I know you've been doing this for a long time, about 15, 20 years, somewhere in there?
About 20 years, yeah.
Okay. So I know a lot of people may come in for many different reasons, procedures, types of things. Has there ever been a situation where you have turned someone away because they didn't need it?
Sure. I turn away probably about as many people as I say yes to, because people come in with their own ideas of what they need, or they have an idea of something they want to accomplish. It may or may not be realistic. And so my job is to make sure they get, number one, the best advice. I mean, patients sometimes decide to move forward and have surgery, and sometimes they don't. But either way, when I'm seeing someone for a consultation, I want to make sure I'm, number one, keeping them safe. Number two, giving them the best advice as to how they can achieve the goal that they're setting out to achieve. And, sometimes it's the procedure they're coming in with an interest in, and sometimes it's not. So, and sometimes the best choice is to do nothing. Whenever I talk to a patient, I always say, let's say you got three choices, three possibilities. And one of them is always going to be, leave it alone, don't do anything, because you don't have to do this. I tell people, I'm not in the business of need. You don't need what I do. Well, the people on the show, they need it. And patients like them, they need help. But, for cosmetic surgery, you don't need it. It's want. This is something you want. And if you want it and it can be done safely and it's affordable for you, then there's nothing wrong with it. But you don't need what I do. So doing nothing and leaving things alone is always a choice, and sometimes the best one.
And I love how you put that, because especially when you use the word need, because this is just my opinion. Okay. So everyone out there listening to me, please don't get angry at me. It's just my opinion. I feel like when it comes to needing plastic surgery, for me, I look at the categories of being in a car accident, or maybe having a birth defect, or maybe you've been burned, or, there's been some type of issue where you got hurt or you couldn't help it. You were born that way. My niece was born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate. So, in situations like that, that's what I think, where I think it would be needed.
Yeah, that's real need. That when you're talking about an actual deformity, congenital, something you're born with, or a traumatic, whether it's a car accident or any other kind of accident, that's more of a need. But and it's having a cosmetic procedure is no less important to that person. That's not to say, like I'm explaining, the person, the baby born with a cleft lip, they don't want to go through their whole life with that deformity. It's not. It's an appearance that's just not normal. And there's functional things with that too that make it very difficult. If you get burned or you have an accident and you get an injury, you want to have that fixed to the best of the ability. Everybody wants to be as whole and quote unquote normal appearing as they can. And if you feel insecure about having maybe asymmetric breasts, or your breasts are really small and you're a bigger person, you don't feel like you're proportional, or maybe they're too big and you feel extra proportional, all of that is no less valid than someone who got burned or got an injury to want to make that better. If something that you don't feel good about, you have an insecurity about, and there's nothing wrong with it. The important thing, though, is make sure you do it safely.
And I really love that word, safely. I really do, because what I want to really drive the point home is that whatever procedure you have done, just keep in mind that, what you get done in your youth, hopefully, if you're blessed to age, there may be some changes. Maybe there won't. Maybe you'll be one of the fortunate ones, but there may be some changes, and you want to make sure your body changes correctly, with the procedures you do. So let me just go ahead and jump into some of these things I've seen. Okay. What in the heck is a Brazilian butt lift? Maybe I'm just out of the loop. What is that?
Well, a Brazilian butt lift I'm with you. It's a terrible phrase because you don't actually lift anything. What you're doing with a Brazilian butt lift, commonly called a BBL, is liposuction, where you're taking fat out from places that have too much fat, usually the tummy, the sides, the back. And you're taking that fat and putting it back into the butt to fill it out, to create more projection, to create roundness, more fullness. So what you're really doing is making a bigger, rounder butt, not really lifting it. But sometimes if it's deflated or not quite saggy, but just looks kind of flat, it looks a little lifted when you add that extra volume. So it kind of became popular being called a Brazilian butt lift, or a BBL.
Where did that phrase come from? Do you know?
Well, probably from Brazil. Yeah, I mean, the procedure was popularized more in Brazil than other places. Actually, Miami is probably the second most common place that's done. And in this country, people have the perception that you got to go to Miami to get the best results with a BBL because we have a lot more experience. And probably, per patient, we probably do more BBLs here in Miami than just about any other city in the country.
Oh, okay. All right. So, then, yeah, because I know that's something I've heard on the show. We are going to take a quick break, and we're going to be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We are still here with Dr. Adam Rubenstein, and he is one of the featured doctors on the new K. Michelle show, My Killer Body. So let's just pick up where we were, Dr. Adam, prior to the break. So you have performed quite a few Brazilian butt lifts, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a time in Miami that I was one of the few doctors actually doing the procedure in the early days before it became so popular. And now you could probably throw a rock and hit someone that knows how to do this procedure down here.
Wow. Okay. Now, let's kind of get into some of the ugly of this whole conversation. What causes, okay, well, I know what causes, because, you know, they got it done wrong, and now you have to come in and be Superman, which you are, and save the day. So how can you get it wrong if it's such a simple procedure? And I don't mean to simplify it, but you know what I'm saying.
Well, and that's just it. There's this perception that, well, it's just lipo. Well, that's easy. You know, how hard could it be? And then that perception has a couple of effects. Number one, it's got doctors looking at it saying, oh, I could do that. That's no big deal. And so somebody takes a weekend course. Next thing you know, they're a lipo specialist and they're doing BBLs. And that's not a very
And that actually happens?
Oh, all the time. Yeah. I mean, there's a number of clinics all over the country, but certainly here in Miami, that have a whole roster of doctors, most of whom are not plastic surgeons.
And so they just figure out how to do it. And what do women think? They're getting a discount, so they go ahead and do it?
Yeah, unfortunately, price is usually what makes this commodity. You know, people look at it and say, well, you know, I can go there and I can pay $12,000, $13,000, $14,000, or I can go there and I can pay $5,000. And, you know, it's a big difference in price. So, well, what's different? It's not quite like buying a t-shirt. You know, I have a social media campaign, hashtag it's not all the same. And it's not all the same. Surgery really depends upon the experience of the doctor. It depends upon the training. It depends upon the ability, the judgment of the doctor to know what the safe choice is, what the safe technique is, to pay attention and know safe technique. There's so many things that go into giving you a good result, and not only just a good result, but a good experience along the way. When you listen to the stories of these patients on the show, I mean, it makes my head spin when I hear these stories. I mean, things that should never happen. There's a patient that put her own IV in because they couldn't get the IV in. So rather than watch someone flog on her, she just took the thing and stuck it in her own vein. I'd never heard of anything like that before. I mean, there was a patient that was going back every day to have fluid mashed out of her body after liposuction. They were poking the incision holes open every time and using water, you know, the fluid spurting out as they're kneading it through. That shouldn't happen either. So many things that just should not happen. So it's not as easy as, oh, you know, you make an incision, suck out fat, and you close it, and hey, everything's going to be great. It probably isn't if that's how you're looking at it.
You know, I'm going to go back to that analogy you used about the t-shirt. You're absolutely correct. Okay, maybe you can find that t-shirt, you know, for a cheaper price. But a t-shirt is something you're putting on your body. This type of procedure is something you're putting in your body. So ask yourself this question. Would you want to buy a parachute that's on sale? Would you want to find a heart surgeon to give you a discount on heart surgery?
Right. Well, even more than that, because we're talking about, you know, going to a heart surgeon and getting heart surgery, already you're setting it up to do the right thing. So if you're, you know, bargaining on price is never a good idea. Agreed. But now let's take this one step further. You're trying to get plastic surgery, but you're going to someone who might be a gynecologist or a family doctor or an emergency room doctor, some of whom have zero surgical training in their residency at all. Now, what I would compare that to is, would you go to someone, like if you have a friend that has their own plane and they fly their plane on the weekends, and you got to fly to Spain. Are you going to ask your friend to go pilot that commercial jet airliner for you? Probably not.
Good point. That is a very good point. And I love that analogy. We have to be the owner of our health, our bodies, our choices. So when we try to get, especially like you said, when it comes to our health and we're sacrificing our safety, I mean, the worst thing that could happen is what we're seeing on your show, Dr. Adam. What if you die?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't mean the worst, but that is the worst thing that could happen. But these situations, as bad as they look, this is actually the best thing that could happen because at least you still have your life.
Yeah, I mean, these are life-changing problems that these patients had, and God willing, life-changing solutions for them too. You know, each one of these people went through something that, you know, they could well have just gotten sick and died from. Some of these patients actually came closer than you think to that being the outcome. So, you know, just surviving the surgery is a pretty low bar for a good experience. And, you know, the things that they had to deal with, each one of these stories is unfortunately both shocking and just not that rare. You know, every one of these things you see on the show is something that I've done before. Now, sometimes I've seen something that was about the worst I've ever seen. You know, we had, I took a big hunk of scar tissue, just as, you know, like a flank steak sized piece of scar tissue out of this girl's tummy that was creating this massive ridge. And, you know, I got to say, I've been doing this 20 years. I've not seen a scar like that before. So I do see these problems that come up. You know, it's the first time I'm seeing.
I think I remember that episode and you said, oh my goodness. Yeah. I heard you.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad. When you get a guy like me with as much experience as I have saying this is about the worst I've ever seen, that is saying something. And I'm so grateful to be able to have a little piece of helping these people get better.
I am too. And with that, we are going to take another quick break. And as you can see, this is so powerful, but we're going to be right back on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We are here with a great plastic surgeon, a great doctor, a great individual, and I'm so glad he has taken this time to help all of my viewers. Now, Dr. Adam, I am going to just dig into this a little bit as far as your involvement with this incredibly wonderful show that I know it is helping millions of people because they are lining up to get some advice from you and to also get fixed. How did you get involved in this? I mean, did you know Kay Michelle or did she reach out to you?
Well, you know, this is something that has been really important in my career, something I've been passionate about and dedicated to, which is trying to help people have the best experience, to get good information. It's one of the reasons I have, you know, the Instagram at Plastic Surgery Truths. I've done a lot of work to try and help people make their best decisions. And in my career, I've done a lot of what we call secondary surgery. That's kind of the fixer-upper jobs. I enjoy them. They're challenging, and it's a kind of rewarding to take someone who, you know, just didn't have a great go the first time around and make things better. And sometimes not having a great go is putting it mildly, as you see on the show. So, you know, my whole career has been in that type of surgery and putting good information out, trying to help people publicly. And I guess the production crew did their research and, you know, saw that that was kind of my thing. And they reached out. And frankly, as soon as I heard about what the project was like and Kay Michelle being involved, you know, she has a famous story of her own that she shared all out there. I mean, to her credit, she put it out there, and that alone helped hundreds of thousands of people, I'm sure, just get awareness and know what could go wrong. And now with My Killer Body, she's taking that to the next level and bringing it to, you know, to the homes of all these people who get to watch and see, hey, you know, these bad things can happen. Make sure you put yourself in the right situation, do things safely. You can do them and get great results. Just don't cut corners and make sure you're doing your homework and putting yourself in the best position. So I mean, that's what I'm about. That's my whole mantra that I give to patients is, make your best choice, make safe choices, do your homework, and you'll be putting yourself into the position to get great results. That means it's going to work out every time, and because complications happen every now and then, but when you get them, you deal with them, you get the patient through it, and they're not life-changing in a bad way. I do this because I love helping people feel better about themselves, live richer lives, and just live better. And that's my privilege and my little piece of heaven here on earth to be able to help people that way. And I feel really good about what's happening with the show and the patients that we've been able to help. And I hope that we can continue. I think it's an important message, and I hope that the network, keeps this show coming back.
I don't know how they can't, because they have to have incredible ratings for this show, because I mean, I'm just glued to the TV. Sometimes I close my eyes because it's just unbelievable at some of the things that you have fixed. My goodness, I can't even imagine if you had done it the first time.
Yeah.
You fix the broken things when they come to you to patch up what somebody messed up. You do such an incredible job. I can't imagine. You are probably such a grade A, top-notch, incredibly wonderful plastic surgeon, because the way you fix those things, I don't even know how you can do it, how you did it.
Well, it is a challenge sometimes. And sometimes I look at it and, patients will share their before pictures. And when I look at where they started, there are some cases that probably shouldn't have been done. Maybe the patient was too big, too heavy for their BMI was too high. Maybe they had medical problems that they shouldn't have had the surgery. But a lot of times I look at it and say, there's no reason this operation should have gone bad. And sometimes I feel like, boy, it'd have been great if I got to do your first operation. But it's all the more satisfying to take someone who just, went sideways with their procedure and get them back on track. It really is gratifying to help someone get their life back. And that's exactly what Kay Michelle is trying to do with the show, is to take these very special cases of disasters and help people whose lives have just totally gone off the rails and get them back on track.
Right. I really hate to ask you this question, but people really need to know, and they need to do their homework. So do you have any idea how many people who do go to this discount store, for lack of a better word, to get these procedures? Do you know about the percentage numbers of people who do lose their lives to those types?
Well,
of
it's a good question, and actually, I've written some blog articles about it. They're looking at a local place, clinic here in Miami, and they had some very public deaths in a string a few years back, and I have analyzed it and looked at their particular record. But in general, to have a baseline to compare to, it's a very safe thing to do. Dying from plastic surgery really should almost never happen. It should happen maybe 1 in every 40 to 50,000 cases. So, it's just to give you an example, that should be the overall death rate of all comers, right? In my career, I've been doing this about 20 years. In my database, I think I have about somewhere between 30 and 35,000 patients. And, knock on wood, I have not had any of those, mortality problems, thank God. But that's about what you're looking at, somewhere between 40 and 50,000 cases before you have a single death. And some of these places are multiples higher than that. So it's scary when you look at the numbers sometimes.
Wow. So your involvement with the show, how long is this season? How long will the season go?
Well, I think episode 5 was just put out. I know there's 8 episodes currently. They might try and get a couple more in under this season. And hopefully they'll sign on and we can do an even bigger season 2.
Now, the ones who have missed the episode so far, is it streaming on any of the streaming like Hulu or?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You can go to the Lifetime website and just navigate, check out My Killer Body. There's a section on the Lifetime website or the Lifetime app. Just get it on your smartphone, check it out, go to the Lifetime app, search for My Killer Body, and there are episodes there. You don't even have to have cable. You can watch them for free.
What is your social media handles? Because I want people to follow you, look for you. If they need a procedure done, I need you to go to the right person. So what are your handles?
Well, you can check me out at Dr. Rubenstein. That's doctor, the word spelled out, DOCTOR, Rubenstein, RUBINSTEIN. That's in Instagram. In Snapchat, it's Dr. Rubenstein, just DR Rubenstein. And also in IG, check out Plastic Surgery Truths, at Plastic Surgery Truths. There's Dr. Rubenstein in TikTok. You can catch me on Facebook. We're everywhere. I'm not hard to find.
Oh, Dr. Adam Rubenstein, thank you ever so kindly for your contributions, sir, for your passion, your purpose, answering God's calling on your life. You are incredible, and I am just so grateful to you. And we also thank you for joining us for this powerful episode of the Living by Design show. And we'll see you the same time next week. Good night, everyone.